Hey y'all, this is V, and I'm going to give you a quick recap of what happened in episode 11 of True Beauty. But first, the next episode of True Beauty premieres tomorrow. So the 21st, I think, Thursday. All right, so in episode 11, the whole first about 5-10 minutes of this show is telling us exactly what happened with Suho and Seo-joon and their friend Se-eun in the past. We start with the accident, and Suho overhears his father and Ju-kyung's sister yelling at each other. He runs out, gets hit by the car, so does Seo-joon, and when they get hit by the car, that's when we get sent to a flashback. We see Suho, Seo-joon, and their friend Se-eun. They're all friends. They got friendship bracelets together. It was Se-eun's idea. Everyone thought it was kind of dumb, but they still got it and they wore it. We also see that they threw a party for Se-eun for his debut coming out with cake and everything. They went back to Suho's house and they like to record music at Suho's place, and there's a big reveal. The reveal is that Suho is Leo, not Seo-joon. Suho is Leo. Suho's the one that composes all the songs for Se-eun. Then we see the sad part of their story, which is that the father pinned Se-eun with this bullying issue. We find out later the father didn't actually do it. The father told his manager to take care of the situation, and the manager decided to pin this whole thing on Se-eun. They say Se-eun's a bully, and Se-eun tries to contact Suho. They don't mention this in the drama, but in the webcomic, Se-eun and Suho were both getting bullied by these people at their school. So it seems like that's why Se-eun wanted to contact Suho, because Suho was the one that can tell everyone that this isn't true. That's just my speculation. But anyway, he tries to contact Suho. He can't contact him. He even goes to Suho's house and tries to contact him, but he can't contact him. Suho is all distracted by his father's issue. And that's why he doesn't pick up the phone when Se-eun calls. So Se-eun kills himself, and Suho finds out about it later, and it's just completely destroyed. That all happens in about the first 10 minutes of the show. Meanwhile, Ju-kyung is feeling bad about their fight. She is sitting on the bus stop, all upset. She decides she's going to go to Soo-jun's house and tell her they're dating. She goes there, tells Soo-jun they're dating. She's really sorry about it. She cries. And Soo-jun's like, hey, look, Suho and me are friends. You and I are friends. I've liked Suho before, and the feelings have gone away, so I'm sure it'll happen again. They hug it out, but you can still see that Soo-jun looks a bit evil. Ju-kyung goes home. She's still feeling a bit bad about it. But then she finds out from her sister that Suho got into an accident, so she runs to the hospital. When she gets to the hospital, she bursts into the room sobbing and cries over the bed of Suho. However, turns out it's not Suho, it's Seo-joon. Seo-joon looks at her and is like, who are you? Because Ju-kyung's not wearing her makeup. Suho rolls in on the wheelchair, and they both realize, oh my God, Ju-kyung's about to get busted. So Suho yells, Nuna! Which means, it could mean like older sister, but he says, that's my cousin. So Ju-kyung runs to him and he hugs her to hide her face. They end up talking to each other in a way that Seo-joon will not see that it's Ju-kyung. But Ju-kyung leaves pretty quickly after that. Suho follows her, and they get into this really cute situation where she accidentally sits on his lap. He wants her to stay there and hugs her a little bit tighter, and they have just a really nice moment together. Before Ju-kyung showed up at the hospital, Suho had met with his father, but he had still been passed out, or he might have been pretending to be sleeping. The father goes to the manager and tries to find out this whole situation. That's when the father finds out that the manager used Se-eun in order to cover up the father's scandal. The father's super upset about this. He did not want the director to use one of their own performers to cover up his scandal. So he's pissed. And this is also why his son doesn't like him, so he's doubly pissed. The whole entire episode, the father is trying to talk to Suho, and Suho doesn't want to talk to him. The great part about this episode is this is when Suho and Seo-joon start to become friends again. They do it in a roundabout way because Seo-joon broke both his arms. Suho broke his leg and maybe injured his other leg, but he can't really get around that well. So that means that Suho has to help Seo-joon do things like eat. He also has to help him pee in the bathroom because Seo-joon can't pull down his pants. Seo-joon helps Suho get his wheelchair and tries to help push him around so that he can get places. So you see them working together, but you also see that they still don't like each other, and it's all on Seo-joon's side. He still doesn't like Suho all that much. Suho is still his stoic self about the whole situation. But even though Seo-joon is still being cold towards Suho, you can kind of see that they're coming together a little bit because Seo-joon's mother visits, and Seo-joon's mother does not know that Suho and Seo-joon aren't friends anymore, so she treats Suho just like they're friends and just wonders, why don't you come to our house anymore, and all those things. Tells him like a little nickname about Seo-joon that he used to be called Tinkle when he was a baby because he peed in the bed until he was like 5. So Suho jokes with Seo-joon about that for a second. And you can kind of see they're kind of trying to resolve their issues together. I did not realize there would be a ton of funny scenes in this episode, but there are a lot. And they mostly resolve around Suho and Ju-kyung trying to hide that they're dating while in the hospital. One, Ju-kyung catches Suho trying to help Seo-joon out of his shirt, and it looks like a really precarious situation where they have to explain themselves. Ju-kyung also brings Suho some books, accidentally drops them, tries to pick them up, and gets her hair caught in his button. And of course, that is when her brother shows up to give Suho some things that Ju-kyung's mother wanted to give him and thinks that they're dating and kissing, so he leaves them alone. That's when all the friends show up too. Seo-joon's comical thug friends show up, and Suho's new best friend Hoon, and the other nerdy guy Hyun-gyu both show up to hang out with Suho. Ju-kyung's hair is caught in Suho's button, so she has to hide under the blankets. It's a whole situation that's really hilarious. But Seo-joon notices the situation and tells his friends to leave, which allows Hoon and Hyun-gyu to leave also, in order for Ju-kyung to come out of the covers. But he pretends like he doesn't know that she's under the covers and leaves the room himself so that she can come from under the covers, which is a pretty cool move by Seo-joon. When Seo-joon leaves, he sees Ju-kyung run out of the room, kind of, just around the corner. They bump into each other, and Ju-kyung signs his cast. She signs something along the lines of, "You're strong like a tiger, rawr," that thing she normally does. That isn't the exact translation, but it's something like that, which, just makes him like her even more. But it's not in the cards for them because Ju-kyung only has eyes for Suho. Ju-kyung comes back to the hospital the next day. The time is weird in this episode, but I feel like it's the next day, and runs into Seo-joon. They have their playful banter back and forth, and they walk to the hospital room together. That's when they see this huge argument of Suho and his father get into about what a hard time Suho had because of all the things his father did to Se-eun and all the things he did to him, like by cheating on his mother with another woman, like right after she died. Suho can't breathe. He has those heart breathing problems that he's been having in previous episodes, just kind of collapse on the bed. His father's really worried about him. Later on, it looks like Suho has to be induced to go to sleep or something, and the father talks to one of the doctors to find out what the issue is, and the doctor says it's all mental issues, so he needs to see a psychiatrist. Seo-joon sees this, sits next to the father, and basically tells the father, "You know nothing about your son, and your son is actually Leo, and you need to figure out stuff about your son." The father takes this to heart and actually goes to try to figure out more things about Suho, goes into his secret room and looks around and just feels like he has a come to Jesus moment about, wow, I don't know anything about my son and I want to. The father ends up quitting as CEO of his company. He also announces that he's retiring, and he says he's doing it because of Se-eun and how the song that some idol group came out with was plagiarized by that group, and the song does not belong to them. It's just a really nice thing that happens because it shows that the father is trying. Ju-kyung sees the news, runs to the hospital. Everyone sees this news, but Ju-kyung runs to the hospital. Suho is all teary-eyed and sad, looking out the window on the steps. And that's when she says she just came there to give him a hug, and she hugs him. They have a really nice moment where they look at each other, and then she's the one that rocks up on her tippy toes and gives him a nice kiss. It's a really adorable kiss. But Seo-joon sees it. And you can tell she's just like, oh, I'm evil now. Turns around and leaves. One thing I skipped over in this episode is that Seo-joon and Suho I don't know if they become friends again, but they settle this disagreement from the past because since Seo-joon heard everything that Suho yelled at his father, he helps Suho just go rest outside somewhere later on, and they have a nice conversation where Seo-joon asks why he didn't tell him all those things that were happening in his life, and Suho says it wouldn't have brought their friend back, so he also just felt responsible anyway, so he just didn't want to bring it up. And Seo-joon calls him a dummy, and it just seems like it's all squashed, their big issue squashed. But now that that issue is squashed, there's another big issue coming up, which is this whole bully story. Another reveal is that the sad bully just transferred to the school on her own. She told her other school that these girls are bothering her and she wanted to transfer. So she goes to this new school. She doesn't know Ju-kyung is at this school at all. The bullies show up at this school because they want to see Seo-joon, and they end up seeing the sad bully. So they start bullying her once again, and they tell her, hey, you have to do these things for us. If you do these things for us, then we'll stop bullying you. And that's when she has to start just taking photos of Ju-kyung and doing all these things with trying to take photos of Ju-kyung because the bullies think that Ju-kyung is Seo-joon's girlfriend. In a nice moment, we saw Seo-joon take the phone away from the bully and ask her why she's taking photos of Ju-kyung, but by the end of the episode, we can see that Seo-joon is fully on the dark side. That's the end of the episode 11 recap. We're going to do an episode 12 preview breakdown, like a mini breakdown, and then we'll see y'all tomorrow for episode 12 of True Beauty.